Hey, my name is Jared and you are watching Backroad Exploration. Today I'm really excited because I'm going to be installing and most importantly starting the review on some Raxiom LED headlights. The folks over at Extermeterrain saw my video where I talk about the 5 things that I hate about the Jeep Wrangler. At the top of that list are the stock headlights. They are terrible. If you spend a decent amount of time off-road or driving on rural roads to get to your trails, you know just how bad they are. They really limit your peripheral view, which is really important to me. I spend a lot of times in the mountains and I want to be able to watch for deer and elk and other animals that could be jumping out in front of me. Additionally, at night, if you're off-road, you cannot see that far in front of you. So I'm excited to put these in. I'm not going to do a detailed install. They already have a great video on their website that I'll link to that gives you a step-by-step process of how to do it. And most importantly, I want to focus on the review. How do these perform in comparison to the stock headlights? I've already shot some footage of me going through the mountains in the dark with my stock headlights, so you can see that. Then I'm going to do a follow-up with the LED lights at the exact same time. It'll be about 3 days after I shot the stock ones, but in general, everything will be basically the exact same. And I want to just showcase just how much better these are. It's really important to me that anytime that I do a review, that I can speak from my heart about what I really like and dislike about a product. So the folks over at Extermeterrain agreed to that. I've had brands reach out to me in the past and say like, hey, here are the talking points we want you to say. If you don't like it, blah, 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 blah. That's not how this works for me. I either buy the product myself and review it, or if someone wants to give me one, they have to agree to allow me to be honest with you as the viewers about what I think. Now, I've already seen different videos of these. I've seen demonstrations on Extermeterrain's site. I feel very confident they're going to be way better than the stock headlights, but I want to do a review and see how it goes. There's a couple things that are really important you probably want to know. The LEDs are from Cree. Cree in the LED market is one of the best brands out there. They're exceptional, so that's going to be a really good addition with these Raxiom headlights. Also, they come with 4 projectors, which is really cool because it gives you just a better, brighter beam in all directions. I'm really excited about them, so let's get started. So one of the things that's cool is these are packaged really nicely. If you're unfamiliar with Extermeterrain, they're one of the largest e-commerce companies in the Jeep and off-roading space. Everything's packaged super nice. I know a lot about e-commerce. I work in e-commerce in the power sports industry day in and day out, and I'm really impressed. You can see how well this was packaged in there. It's got this nice foam in between, but most importantly, check these out. I am really excited about this. So one of the nice things about this, there's no cutting, splicing, anything like that that you have to do. Raxiom even includes the Canbus Module so that you can basically plug it into your newer JKs and you're not going to have any strobing or any weird effects like that out of the LED lights. So let's get these things plugged in. And just like that, I've got the headlights installed. A couple of things I want to point out. This took me about an hour and a half. Under normal circumstances, this should only take 30 minutes. I'm filming, which slows me down. And most importantly, I broke that locking mechanism, which made getting the turn signal off super hard. You should be able to do this 30 minutes max. Now, another thing that's really important to know is I'm running bigger tires, 35-inch tires, and a lift, which means that the stock beam setup is way too high. It's going to be blasting people right in the eyes. So I'm going to take my T15 Torx, I'm going to lower it down, basically just find a flat wall that I can shoot it against, lower it down, back up, and then lower it so that basically the beam is hitting. You want the beam to basically be hitting right where their eye level is going to be, right as you're passing them. So there's some really good tutorials on how to do this officially online, so definitely check those out. But I just want you to be aware, once you install these, you're definitely going to need to adjust that. Luckily, on the Jeep, it's super easy. You don't have to remove anything. You can just put that T15 Torx in, adjust counterclockwise or clockwise to adjust the beam up and down. The first thing that I noticed when taking out these Raxiom LED headlights is just how much clearer the white light is compared to the halogen, more tungsten colored lights that come stock in the Jeep Wrangler. I'm really impressed with them. I love how much more modern the look is, and I love the wide peripheral view that I'm getting out of these headlights. I also think it's important to point out that these are DOT and SAE compliant, which means that they're approved to be used on the pavement in the United States. A lot of the cheap headlights that you can pick up on like Amazon are not necessarily DOT or SAE compliant, and that's something that you want to be aware of. Another important feature is that these have an IP rating of 67, which means they're waterproof and dustproof. You're not going to have dust seeping into the headlight, and you're not going to have water and condensation building up there and fogging up your lenses, which is really important. Now I want to show a quick comparison of the stock lights versus the LEDs. The first thing you'll notice with these stock lights is that the peripheral view is really limited. In fact, on that left side you can hardly see anything. Additionally, the color is a much more yellow tungsten color that doesn't quite cut through the darkness in the same way, and you can't see as far. Everything about these stock headlights is just insufficient. In contrast, the Raxiom LED headlights have way better peripheral view. They cut through the darkness way better. In fact, with the stock headlights, I had to actually change the aperture on the camera just so that the footage wasn't completely grainy. This is so much better. And they even look better now that I've adjusted them a little bit. They're still pointed a little bit too low, but the way they cut through the darkness is absolutely fantastic. Now that I've shown you some before and after footage of these Raxiom LED headlights, I want to talk about the things that I like and dislike about them. I've actually been running these for 6 months now since I installed them. The first thing that I dislike is I feel like the difference between the low beam and the high beam is pretty marginal. Now it's not a huge deal because the low beam is so much better than the stock headlights that it's not a massive issue, but I do feel like I wish that that high beam just had a little bit more brightness on it to give you that much more visibility. I feel like the step up is just a little bit too small. The second thing is the way that the light is, because it's such a white light, when you're off-road and in the dust, it doesn't cut through it as well as I would like it to. Especially when you're kind of going in a convoy. One of the things that you'll see often is people when they're going in a group is they'll actually kill the headlights and use more of like an amber style light or use an amber headlight. That amber light cuts through without blinding the other people, and it kind of gives you a little bit better visibility. Now you can't really have both of those worlds, the real bright light and the amber, so it's not a huge deal, but it is something that I have noticed where you have a little bit more of the tungsten color coming out of the stock headlights. I feel like in really dusty conditions the visibility isn't necessarily better, but people can see you better, which I think is something that's important in some conditions. But those two things are really small. The pluses of these headlights far outweigh them. First of all, the peripheral view is absolutely fantastic. To me, as you've seen from my adventures, I'm out on these trips with my family. Safety is of the utmost importance, and I can see so much better. In fact, this is an upgrade that I wish I would have done a long time ago. That peripheral view gives me so much more confidence when I'm on rural roads and when I'm in off-road, being able to see animals and things coming from the side. I just feel like I can see so much better. These Raxiom LED headlights, they really just illuminate everything that comes in their path, which is so advantageous when you're going at high speeds on the pavement and when you're off-road going around blind corners and different things like that. I want to be able to see things as quick as possible, which is something that I feel like these do exceptionally well. The thing is with lighting, I can't give you like a 3-year review on longevity because the technology is advancing so quickly that in 3 years these are going to be outdated and what's new is going to be that much better on the market. But I've had them installed for 6 months. I've had 0 issues whatsoever. I've been really impressed with them so far. Overall, I cannot recommend these headlights enough. When you talk about just how much better the peripheral view is, how much further you can see with the extra power and lumens, and just the extra brightness from these LED headlights, that caps everything off. You can add them to your Jeep for just a few $100s. I'm going to leave a link to these in the description below. If you'd like to check them out, please do. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, please hit that like button and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have more reviews coming down the line. I have a bunch more adventure videos that are coming out. You can follow me also on Instagram to see everything on the day-to-day at Backroad Exploration. Thanks for watching.